So some deals take 4 years, a court battle, and a few billion rand to land. Others just needed 38 minutes and a British warship. Coming up in today's episode, scams are getting smarter and South Africans are becoming a prime target. KFC admits that the fast food crown is getting heavier, and SA20 locks in its next blockbuster season. And also, if you ever wondered if it was possible to win a war before breakfast, we've got a story for you too. My friends, it is Friday. This is Daily Bagel, the news show that makes the news make sense. Let's get into it. And kicking us off with current affairs, Interpol's latest cyber threat report shows that South Africa is now the second most targeted country for ransomware in Africa, just behind Egypt but ahead of more populous nations like Nigeria. I mean, last year alone, we logged over 12,000 ransomware detections, with state hospitals, pension funds, and even our defense department falling victim. We had one gang that leaked 1.6 terabytes of military files, including the president's contact details. But ransomware is just the start. South Africans are being hit by a flood of AI-powered scams. I mean, even just recently, there was reportedly deep fake videos of JSE executives promoting fake investments. But now it's important to remember that these aren't clumsy voiceovers or obvious Photoshop jobs. These are hyper-realistic videos where faces move, lips sync, and speech patterns are spot on, making them convincing enough to fool people who would normally spot a scam. So why are we bringing this up? Because as these attacks are getting smarter, staying alert is half the defense. So make sure to send this to friends or family who may not realize just how convincing these fake videos have become. And onto our quick fire mentions, the health department just got a 753 million rand bailout to help keep the HIV/AIDS programs alive after the US funding cuts. Treasury says that some of it will go towards research and the rest to stop clinics from closing. FlySafair is launching a new domestic route from Cape Town to Hoedspruit, opening up easier access to the Central Kruger and Limpopo Safari region. First flights are set to lift off on the 2nd of October. And on to our finance section. Vodacom has been fighting for 4 years to merge its fibre business with Remco's Massive, a 13 billion rand deal that got shot down last year for being too dominant. But now, it's back on the table after the Competition Commission finally gave it the nod, with strings attached. So to get approval, Vodacom had to agree to some pretty heavy conditions, keeping fiber prices low, giving smaller players fair access to infrastructure, and even handing out free gigabit internet to libraries and clinics. Now, they've also committed to investing billions in fiber rollouts, including in underserved areas, and they've also agreed to divest overlapping infrastructure, with an independent trustee stepping in if they don't follow through. And so this seems to be a pretty big win for Vodacom, but getting this green light meant bending the knee. I mean, this deal now comes with price caps, rollout promises, and a regulator watchdog. The matter now heads to the Competition Appeal Court on an unopposed basis, meaning that unless something dramatic happens, this merger is going through. And next up, South Africa's fast food market is shifting, and even KFC is feeling the heat. You see, despite dominating the quick service restaurant space, also known as QSR, with over 1,200 outlets, the chain says that competition is accelerating, margins are tightening, and customers are wanting more for less. According to Business Day, the 600 billion rand QSR market is seeing a flood of new arrivals, from fast casual upstarts to grocery store counters and mobile pop-ups. KFC, as a result, now is testing smaller store formats, student-focused shops, and land scouting campaigns to stay ahead. I mean, for example, pizza chain Col'Cacchio is also pivoting. They've launched Col'Cacchio Go, which is this leaner, quick service version of their full service restaurants with simplified menus and lower startup costs aimed at high density residential areas. We're very likely going to see a lot more of this moving forward. So I guess the message here is that the big brands are getting ready to scrap. Even as chicken and pizza stay strong, high food costs, load shedding, and shifting eating habits are pushing everyone to innovate or risk becoming yesterday's lunch. And on to our quickfire mentions. It's rather interesting to know that BMW and VW South Africa said that they will not be affected by the new US tariffs. You see, neither of them export to the States, or their locally built models head straight to Europe and Asia. And Treasury is setting up a new 9 billion rand guarantee vehicle to attract private grid investments. It'll backstop payments from the National Transmission Company, reportedly unlocking cash for long overdue infrastructure upgrades without bloating state debt. And onto our sports section. My friends, if you still think that the SA20 is just another cricket tournament, you're about 2 seasons behind. You see, South Africa's own T20 league has quickly become one of the country's most successful sporting properties, drawing record crowds, surging viewership, and even helping local players land IPL contracts. And with a recent report valuing the Indian Premier League at $18.5 billion, SA20 is certainly riding on that momentum. So over 1 million tickets have been sold since launch. Last season alone saw a 70% spike in sold out matches, with MI Cape Town lifting the trophy in a packed Wanderers stadium. The league is now drawing global attention and building real local pride. So now season 4 is officially locked in. It kicks off on Boxing Day at Newlands with the defending champs MI Cape Town facing Durban's Super Giants. And this tournament will run through until the 25th of January. So yeah, sadly we won't have any test cricket this summer, but that's no problem. SA20 will be filling that holiday slot just fine. And on to our quickfire mentions. Chelsea take on PSG this Sunday in the final of the FIFA Club World Cup, hosted at New Jersey's MetLife Stadium. Now this is the last match of Chelsea's 65-game season, with some solid prize money on the line. Caster Semenya has won a partial legal victory in Europe. You see, the court ruled her Swiss appeal wasn't fairly heard, but testosterone rules keeping DSD athletes out of competition remains in place for now. And the Wimbledon finals are upon us this weekend. On the men's side, Djokovic is chasing his record 25th Grand Slam. Alcaraz or Sinner could claim his 2nd of the year, or Taylor Fritz could clinch his 1st ever. And before we continue, here is your Bagel Bite of the day. It's a bit of a difficult one, but I'll back you. Which was the last African country to gain independence from colonial rule? Was it A, Angola, B, Ivory Coast, or C, Namibia? We'll give you the answer at the end of the show. And onto our wildcard section. Look, before we get into this, I wanted to say we are testing whether or not to turn this section into an interesting story for you guys as opposed to a random news event. So let us know what you prefer and we can keep that going. Let's get into it. So back in 1896, the Sultan of Zanzibar died, and this new guy just took the throne without Britain's blessing. And I remember at the time, the Brits, still in full colonial overlord mode, told him to step down or face war. And he said no. And they said cool. So at 9:02 a.m., the British warships opened fire on the palace. And by 9:40, the Sultan had fled through the back door, his army had surrendered, and the war was over. And so this was an actual documented war with bombs, ultimatums, and a ceasefire, and it lasted shorter than a carte blanche episode. And yes, it holds the official Guinness World Record. So next time someone says, hey, war doesn't solve anything, just remind them that just once, it solved everything before breakfast. And as for that bagel bite, the answer is Namibia, which gained independence from South African colonial rule back in 1990, making it the last African country to formally break from foreign occupation. Now, it's worth noting that South Sudan only became independent in 2011, but it broke away from Sudan, which was not a colonial power. So while it is still Africa's youngest country, it wasn't the last to decolonize. And my friends, that's it for today's show. After a couple of minutes, amongst other things, you now know more about AI scams, Vodacom's mergers, SA20's performance, and the shortest war in history. Daily Bagel is turning you from smart to wicked smart, and I'm here for it. Guys, have a great weekend. Take it easy. Enjoy the sport. Be kind to one another, and I'll see you early Monday morning. Cheers.